Hello there. My name is Ian, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today, I'm joined by Larry Schorr, and Larry first came to my attention with the release of this For Earth Below box set from Robin Trower, and he was a commenter. He commented on my review of that and said, "Hey, my photos are in that." And before I knew it, I had an email from Larry. And I started looking through his website, and I was just so amazed because I think what your talent is, Larry, is you take these people they're giants, they're legends, and I don't know if they were then or not, but they definitely are now. But you make them look so approachable, so human, so real. And I'm mesmerized by looking at your work.
Thank you so much. And that is the thing that I'm really aiming for, is what I would call stage portraiture.
Yeah.
Because I don't have most of my pictures do not have action. They're not like somebody jumping around or something like that. They're usually a moment of stillness.
Yeah.
And that's what I aim for. And people have commented on that who have seen a number of my work all put together. And they'll say, we got a real feeling from all of this. That all gels together. And I said,
right.
That's exactly what I'm aiming for.
Yeah, yeah. And that just really impressed me. And like, you were like, Ian, pick some of your favorites. And I think I picked like 300 photos. I was so indecisive because they're incredible. So we're going to show your website, and your website is My Pix Rock. And
it's www.mypixrock, like it's spelled there, mypixrock.format.com.
Cool. And I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to pinpoint some, because we'll be talking about this all day if I go to every single artist that I love and every photo that I love. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinpoint a couple of artists who I think that my viewers would be the most interested in. And we're going to start by looking at Genesis. And I thought maybe I could open up some of these photos and show some of my favorites. And maybe you could just tell me the stories behind these, like where you were at the time and how, how you ended up taking these shots. But like, I love this one of Peter Gabriel. Now this was around the time of Genesis Live, right? Like 1973.
Yes, it was March of 1973. Absolutely. You nailed it.
Yeah. And that's during Supper's Ready. That's the Gog Magog.
Yeah.
Get up.
Most of my pictures I've got here of Peter were during his various costume changes during Supper's Ready. But the story behind this one is I went to college in Rochester, New York between 1969 and 1973 at Rochester Institute of Technology. And my major there was professional photography. I never, ever worked as a professional photographer. I got in the music business out here and then got into computers. But I always went to a lot of shows, and I'd bring my camera around to take photos. And as it happened, we would get a lot of interesting bands play at our college gym up in Rochester.
Wow.
Our freshman concert was the Moody Blues.
Nice.
We had people like the Byrds. We had a lot of different folks from there. Captain Beefheart, Rory Gallagher, lots and lots of people. But they used to play Genesis on our FM station in Rochester, WCMF, which was one of the greatest FM rock stations I ever heard. And I've heard some of the best. So WCMF would play progressive rock quite a bit. And my friends and I, we were really into the sound of mellotrons and all this ornate stuff, because I got into Court of the Crimson King when that first came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew from mellotrons by then. But
yeah.
So we were familiar with Genesis from hearing them on the radio. And then one day we got a word from the promotional folks at the college saying, Genesis is going to be coming to the RIT gym in March of 1973. And we went, yeah, okay, we'll go see it. And we went over there and we went to the show. It's interesting because a lot of deaf students were there as well, because RIT also housed the National Technical Institute for the Deaf. There was a lot of deaf students who were at the gig, and because they can hear a little bit and they can feel the vibrations.
Yeah.
And when the big flashpot explosion happened, right between the gates of, right before the gate and the gods of Magog. That explosion went off way more than Genesis was expecting. Read in Antonio's book about that. They said that they weren't expecting that one, and it was in the place. It just threw everybody into a complete state of oblivion, including one of our deaf friends there. He's going, "Wow, wow!"
Is that the one where Tony was chasing somebody around, going, "You made me deaf"? I heard that story at one point, but yeah, let's see. Like I love this shot here. That's got to be like early on in Supper's Ready.
No, that is the musical box.
Oh, that's the musical box. Okay.
They didn't have a mask at that point. There was no old man mask. They had to do it with lighting. So
interesting.
He was doing that part of it. Now.
Oh, okay.
So he would look really ghastly. Well,
yeah. Yeah, that's almost scarier to me than the old man mask. Like that's really striking.
Oh, I
lighting.
Think so. Yeah, those are really scary looking ones from that show. In fact, yeah, here you can see, scroll down a little bit. That one right here, you can see starting off there with "Watcher of the Skies." That's how.
Oh yeah.
And then that developed into the musical box, which the next few pictures were taken of. Yeah, Play Me Old.
Okay.
Cool. And then the rest of them was after the musical box. The rest of the pictures I have there are from Supper's Ready.
Right, because that would have had the most costume changes.
Yes. Yeah, and they had a lot of time for it as well.
Yeah, and I always loved the flower mask.
But yeah, this was the Foxtrot tour.
Right.
And it's great. I got to see the musical box from Montreal perform the Foxtrot tour when they played here in San Francisco a number of years ago. And what a sense of deja vu that was in that whole show from 1973, performed straight through by somebody else who did a very good job of it.
Yeah, and for those of you who might be watching this at home and don't know, the musical box is an authorized tribute. Like Peter Gabriel and Phil Collins have both given their seal of approval to that and have said that this is like the second best thing to seeing the real thing. I would love to see the musical box one day.
Yeah, they tour around relatively often. I'm not sure where you live at, but in San Francisco, they seem to come around about once every 2 years or so.
Yeah, they've been up here. The closest big city to me is Pittsburgh, and they've played Greensburg a couple of times. But it's a hall with not the greatest acoustics. But man, I got to get up there one day anyhow, because I think it would be worth it. Like just as you said, just to see the visual aspect of it, and the recreation. And I just absolutely love all eras of Genesis, but this one in particular, like the 73, 74 Foxtrot through Lamb Lies Down on Broadway is my favorite.
Yeah. No, I hear that. And Nursery Crimes was also pretty super, and we would hear that on the radio a lot too.
So you have some shots. There was one thing I wanted to highlight. I didn't see here. I love this photo of Tony Banks, because to me, Tony's the heart of Genesis for me. Like people get really worked up over Phil or Peter Gabriel, but the consistency from all the eras is this man right here. And I understand, like I took a photography class when I was in college, and we're talking digital photography, but still I understand how hard it is to capture something in low lighting. And, here Tony Banks is kind of in the back of the stage here, but this is a really perfectly clear shot of him. And this is a man who I just do like a little bit of keyboard work. I kind of dabble, but every time I watch the Three Sides Live video and I watch Tony Banks play, it inspires me. So I love this shot here.
Oh, thanks so much. And yeah, Tony is my hero out of Genesis.
Mine as well.
Peter's left. Now what's going to happen? Peter did not write most of the music for Genesis back in those days. Those were Tony's compositions.
Right.
And once Peter left and they started giving individual songwriting credits, you saw Tony Banks all over the place there. I said,
oh yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, like some of their best stuff was written by Tony, like Firth of Fifth,
Yeah, One for the
One
Vine.
for the Vine. Yeah, that might be my favorite of all time. I think Entangled, that's another one of his. Duchess, like he's got so many great tunes, but yeah, this shot in particular of Tony, and I also like this one of Mike Rutherford an awful lot. You know, it's prog when you get the double neck. Is that double neck bass or is that double neck guitar?
It's a 12-string guitar and it's a bass.
Okay, I think Geddy Lee had something like that when they played Xanadu with Rush. Yeah, so that's a really really cool shot of Mike.
Now, if you scroll down to where it shows pictures from the Oakland Coliseum and keep scrolling.
There's Berkeley, Winterland.
Yeah, this one here, I think I have my favorite of.
I love that one. That's really sweet.
Mike with all this stuff going on in the background and that lighting that they used and all the rest of it. Yeah, that's the one that I really like a lot.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. So this was Duke Tour, right?
Yes.
Cool.
One of my favorite pictures. Look at that one of Daryl Sturmer, the third from the left.
Is that the one, or did I miss it?
Oh, that photograph until like a couple of months ago. There was a lot of my pictures that I just never did anything with besides look at the negatives. I didn't do a thing with them. I looked at that and I said, my goodness, that's about as good a picture as a profile of a guitarist as you're going to want to see.
Yeah.
Blown away. I was saying, how can I get this to Daryl? And I tried to look up Daryl and I could find no way to contact the guy. So, because I bet he would like that.
Yeah, I think so. That's a great shot. I like these ones of Phil here too.
Oh yeah.
With the tambourine.
Yeah, I don't think it's up on here, but I have one of Phil. It's a color one of him flipping the bird to the audience.
You did. Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay. I gotta get that one in.
That's like, I could see that, like just crop it and it'd be great on a t-shirt. Like I would wear that.
Yeah. Like, who said, where's Peter?
Here's Peter. Yeah, that's great. Now this looks like this is another show from 1980, or is this the same show?
No, those are two separate shows. One was Duke and the other was
no. This is And Then There Were Three. This is 78.
Oh yeah. There you go. I forgot about Then There Were Three.
Yeah, this one is this was And Then There Were Three, and then you got a couple of shots of Duke. I like this one here.
Yeah, it gets three of them in there like that. Now, when they played at Winterland in San Francisco on the Wind and Wuthering tour, they did 2 nights in a row there. One night was general admission, and one night was seated, which was something I never saw at Winterland before. But I went both nights, of course. And when they did Firth of Fifth, that first night, when Tony hit those bass pedals, I think more than a few bowels were loosened the course of that thing. I think my skull was vibrating in my head. The second night, Steve Hackett come up to the microphone before they start that, and he goes, "Those of you who were here last night might remember this."
Yeah, that's something that always sticks out to me on the records too. Like I've been into A Trick of the Tail this week because I reviewed the new SACD, and that opening of Dance on a Volcano, those huge bass pedal sounds like that rocks even on my stereo system at home. Like I can only imagine what that was like in person.
Oh, yeah, through the big PA, absolutely.
Let's see, we got looks like they're doing this is another great shot of Mike here, but looks like they're doing I Know What I Like in Your Wardrobe here.
It could very well be. Yeah, that's when they would do that sort of stuff, and he would hit Mike on the head with the tambourine while he was doing that too.
Yeah, right.
But when I saw them on the Selling England by the Pound tour, I didn't have pictures of that one, but they supported Jay Giles' band at San Francisco Civic Auditorium on that tour. And when Peter started telling his stories between songs, this Jay Giles fans in the audience were not interested in that, and they started clapping like that in rhythm, like, we've heard enough of this, let's get on to the music. But Peter started clapping with them. And meanwhile, people are going to get off the stage. You know, we don't see Jay Giles. And I'm going, I was getting upset.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just decided to put up this photo of Peter while you're talking about him. But
yeah, sure.
What struck me about this is that compositionally, it almost reminds me of the front cover of Steely Dan's Asia.
It does.
And it's just like, wow, how did he predict Asia by like 5 years?
I never thought of that, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's such a cool shot, man. I could talk about Genesis all day, but I'll tell you what.
They were my favorite band total from the time I saw them at the RIT gym until probably around the time that Abacab and Genesis, and they started falling behind a little bit behind some other people. But for all through the 70s and stuff, they were my number one, big time.
That's my cutoff too, is Abacab. Like I actually love Abacab. I reviewed it and listened to it this week. But I'm only familiar with the singles that were on the self-titled Genesis album. And I just happened to throw it on last night for like the first time to try to listen to it. I'm like, man, this is so different. It's not bad. It's just not as much my thing as, you know, pre 81. It's not as eccentric, I guess, as pre 81. But I did want to talk a little bit about the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway tour, because I saw you have the infamous Slipperman costume here. But what was it like seeing the Lamb live back then?
Oh, my goodness me. Well, that was at Berkeley Community Theater. So I went over there with a bunch of my friends. And, you know, people were doing various stimulants and other combinations of stuff. Oh, yeah. And whatever anyone went in there on, they left like a few degrees higher than that. It was a complete experience. It was an experience. I was a little upset because my seats were pretty far back and I didn't get up close like I wanted to for my pictures. So they're not as good as I could have got them, but I did get some good ones out of here. But it was just an amazing, amazing show. And that's another one that the musical box will sometimes do the entire Lamb show as well on some of them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these are some nice shots, though. I like Gabriel and the rail get up.
Right. Yeah.
Now, had the record come out at this point? Was this all new to you, or were you familiar with it?
No, we were all very familiar with that.
Cool.
I worked in a record store back then. So, you know, the day it came out, you know, I bought in on that and I took it home, and my roommates were there and they had been playing the whole thing on KSAN radio and they were recording it. And I came walking in there, I got the album here. They said, well, we've got it already on tape here. So I bummed on the headphones and sat there and paid no attention to anybody else in the room for the next, 55 minutes or however long that was.
Oh, yeah, that's one of those records that I have to be careful when I put on the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, because I have to listen to the whole thing. Like it's like a 90-minute, it's 2 discs, but I just have to take in the whole thing. It's like a film. I was just curious because I know that they had talked about, they went out and played this album before it was released. And, they had talked about like, hey, that was maybe not the best idea to play something when people were expecting more of Genesis live or Selling England by the Pound material. But yeah, I was just curious if you were familiar with it, but it's one of those things like
out for a few months by that.
Yeah, it's one of those things like people talk about it in retrospect, and I don't think they realize like how much audiences really were into this crazy stuff back then.
You see, even when we saw them back at RIT on the Foxtrot tour, they were known more as a theatrical band than a progressive rock band.
Sure.
Progressive rock was still something relatively new under the sun at this point. And but stage stuff had been going on, from Bowie and all the rest of that. And everyone was talking about Peter's costume changes and the stage stuff that they do. But that's the way it was brought about more often back then. But, after Selling England and all that, they still did the stagecraft, but the progressive rock thing started getting to be a whole lot bigger at that point.
You're right. Now, did they call it progressive rock back then?
No, I don't think they did.
Yeah.
We called it prog rock at that point because we liked Yes and we liked Genesis and we liked Pink Floyd and we liked King Crimson. But no, we didn't have a name for it then, I don't think.
Yeah, that's interesting because I saw a an ad for the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds from back when it came out, and it was already being marketed as a progressive pop album. And I was just curious, like when you said you were like listening to progressive rock stations and stuff, I was like, well, was that term in use yet? Because one of the things I find so fascinating, like you said, here you have Genesis opening up for the Jay Giles band, or like Geddy Lee says that he saw, I think, Genesis open up for Lou Reed or something like that. And it just seems like genres didn't really exist back then. It was just all kind of rock music or pop music.
Right, but some of those bills could be pretty freaky. Like when Robin Trower played here for the first time and supporting Sha Na Na as the headliner, which didn't do Sha Na Na any favors.
No, I can't imagine. Well, I am going to jump around a little bit. I want to talk about Pink Floyd since you brought them up.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about Zappa, but you mentioned Pink Floyd. Where is the Floyd? There they are. And I do want to talk about Robin Trower, of course, but I absolutely love this shot of Nick.
So do I. It's one of my favorite pictures, and I doubt if Nick has ever seen a better picture of himself than that.
Has he seen it?
No, and I sure would like to get it to him.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It's one of my favorites of all my Pink Floyd photos.
Yeah, and like
and everything just works out really well in it.
Well, it's sort of like, you know, what I was talking about, like people who don't do photography don't realize the value of light and how hard it is to capture a shot when, you know, you're on a stage that's being lit not for photography but for a show. And it's really hard to get everybody's faces clear and crisp, especially the drummer, because he's got all these cymbals, he's got these tom-toms, you know, in front of him. And to get such a clear shot of Nick is just amazing. And I think looking at your Floyd shots, you were able to grab a clear shot of just about everybody.
Yes, I was.
Like this shot of Roger, like I'm guessing he's either doing Shine On here or maybe Careful with That Axe, Eugene. But that's such a great shot of Roger Waters.
No, I could see him with that Careful with That Axe. I could imagine that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was on the Wish You Were Here tour in 1975, and they were playing music from Animals on there.
Raving and Trolling, yep.
They had the different titles,
yeah,
and a lot of stuff in the music was pretty different too. It's interesting what Pink Floyd did back in those days for a relatively large band who would try out new material on the road, like they did with Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
For that matter.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like I saw a documentary on Animals, and they said that when that stuff was premiered on the Wish You Were Here tour, the response was like, this is old, this is tired, the band sound like they're going through the motions and all this stuff. And it took them a couple years to refine it. And of course, they took it to the studio to do so. But by the time the Animals album came out, man, that stuff was powerful. It became Dogs and Sheep, and it just was something else entirely.
Yeah, it really was. That was a superb job they did. But it was really a lot of fun seeing those things being played in forms. And I did get to see Dark Side of the Moon played in its early form too. When I was at college in Rochester, we were all big Pink Floyd fans up there, and Metal was the latest one that they had put out. And one of our friends was originally from Philadelphia, so we drove from Rochester down to Philadelphia to go see Pink Floyd play at the Spectrum Theater. What that meant was the Spectrum is this, 14,000 seat basketball arena type of place. But Pink Floyd was not popular enough at that point to fill up something like that.
Yeah.
So they sectioned off half of it and put like a horseshoe seating around it and put the stage in the middle of the floor and called it the Spectrum Theater. And that is where we saw them perform Eclipse, a piece for assorted lunatics.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think I've heard like a bootleg of that or something, because I'm familiar with that early version. But yeah, that's cool that you get to experience that for the first time. Now, as a Pink Floyd fan coming from Metal to Dark Side of the Moon, did you consider that a departure, or did you embrace that difference?
They embraced it wholeheartedly. Had no problem at all. But even so, my very favorite Pink Floyd song will always be Echoes
Yeah, mine too. I'm a Pompeii guy. That's probably my favorite Pink Floyd anything. I love Pink Floyd at Pompeii, but I love the Animals album. I love Wish You Were Here. I love Dark Side of the Moon. I love all of it. All that stuff is great.
Me
But
too.
yeah, we're gonna look at a couple of. Now, I swear I've seen this picture of Dave before, and it's in my thumbnail, obviously. But has this been printed somewhere?
I'd say more than a few of my pictures have found their way around the internet
Yeah,
from one place or another, and that's what's going to happen. You know, it's nothing
sure.
I've been out of shape about. If people see my pictures, I'm happy. I mean, that's the main thing. If they know
Yeah,
that I took them, I'm even happier. If someone else says they took them, then I'm very unhappy. But if they're just, show up on a Wikipedia article or something, I'm good with that. But I
yeah.
was thinking this might be the last time that Dave smiled in Roger's direction.
Yeah. You see I was thinking of Dave and Roger when we were looking at the shot of Mike Rutherford and Phil Collins sharing the microphone, because Dave and Roger did that on Young Lust on the Wall Tour. And I just have to imagine that they had to be this close to killing one another every single night. Like some roadie who had a sick sense of humor must have set that up. All right, let's see. Yeah, I love this shot of Roger too. Again, like you're able to capture the human side of these legends, and that's what impresses me so much. They seem so attainable, like you could just reach out and touch them.
Well, thank you. And notice that shirt that Roger's wearing. That is a Pink Floyd T-shirt that he's wearing. I've never seen that commercially available.
Yeah, I don't recognize that design.
But on the sleeves, it has Pink and then Floyd and this design thing in the middle of it, and that's what he's wearing in that.
Yeah, I don't recognize that design. Is there another?
I don't know if it was ever made available. He might have.
Yeah. Huh.
But you can see the pink on the.
Oh yeah. Yep, you can very clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, that favorite one, that silhouette one.
Which one? The
one you had up previously. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that rocks. Yep, I love that. See, I would love it. There isn't really like a great reissue campaign for Floyd stuff. They've done box sets and things, but the sources haven't been that great. But I would love to see some of your photography show up in some of these box sets, because I just would like to, for as many people to see it as possible, because like I said, I'm so impressed by viewing these. Like this shot of Rick, like this is another example of like, it's got to be hard to grab that, especially a keyboard player, because they're always looking down. They're kind of off in the side, off in the shadows, but it's awesome. Like it looks so cool.
Well, thank you very much, Ian. Thank you very much for saying that. Yeah, that was a weird show because it was general admission at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. And somehow or other, I was able to work my way up to the front without it being too congested or anything up there. But, and this was after Dark Side of the Moon, so you would figure that.
Yeah.
That might have been a little more difficult, but it wasn't like having to go to a punk show and working my way up to the front.
That was more of a fist fight, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Pink Floyd didn't have that big a mosh pit going on.
Yeah, it's easier to push aside potheads, I guess. All right. Let's see. I do want to talk a little bit about Zappa, because I'm actually, the next review I think I'm going to do is Frank Zappa's One Size Fits All, because that box set just came out. But there's one shot of Frank here that this one, and you might have noticed it's in my thumbnail, but he just looks so lost in the moment here. Do you remember what he was playing here?
I sure don't. In fact, I have almost no recollection even of that gig. It was one of the very first shows I took pictures at when I moved to San Francisco in '73. I took pictures of the Who at the first night of their Quadrophenia tour when Keith went down. So I was at that show and took pictures. But the Zappa ones were from late '74, I think, or early '74, somewhere in '74. So it was some of the first ones I took. And I know it was at Berkeley Community Theater, but I don't remember much of anything else about it. I didn't even remember that George Duke was with the band until I saw him in one of the pictures.
Yeah, that shot of George is awesome. Yeah, this one.
It is. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, he's another hero of mine. Are you a musician? Are you?
No,
Are you? Because that when you said Tony Banks was your hero, I thought, I bet he's a keyboard player.
no, I've tried my hand. I don't have the discipline and the patience for trying to learn.
It's like I embrace the production side of it. I'm just trying to make a living by listening to music somehow, you know.
I hear you.
So that's why I do my reviews and I do production. But you said you were in the music business. What did you do?
Well, in 1974, I started working at this record store called Record Bar, who was mostly a Southeast U.S. chain, but they wanted to try their hand in the West Coast. So in Ceremony Shopping Center, outside of San Francisco, they opened up one of these stores, and I got my first record store job working there.
Okay.
And it was great. Oh, I absolutely loved it. And I worked there for about a year and 3 months. And then I left and worked for a chain in San Francisco called Banana Records. And I was with them till about 1975 or so. And then I went to work for a record wholesaler in Oakland.
Okay.
And from 1978 to 1984. And that's when I really had a good time, because I was one of those people that gave reports to Billboard magazine. They didn't have no barcodes or nothing back then. They had to call people up. Well, we were top 10 selling records, you know? And,
yeah.
Oh, the record companies love me. I hope to tell you about that. So for 6 years, I never had to buy a record or pay for a copy or anything like that. I was well taken care of. And that's what I really enjoy doing. But then when that place went out of business, when LPs switched over to CDs, and this place was total LP place, and then I went to learn computer programming and did that for 27 years till I retired. But no, I was always, when I worked for like Charles Schwab as a programmer and stuff, I had all these kind of pictures all over my cubicle and stuff like that. I never made any secret of the fact that I'm some refugee from the rock and roll world. And I really don't belong here, but so why not?
How many people would come into your computer job and say, "Hey, that's Frank Zappa," or "That's
more than you might think"? And occasionally we would have art shows in the big cafeteria at the building. And I got a show of my stuff up there one time. And wow, did I hear from a lot of people at work about that. People were blown away. Oh, my goodness. I wish I would have done that a lot earlier than that. But that was really good.
Yeah, that's cool.
You were saying about getting it in box sets and stuff. Now, this was a picture I took of John King from Gang of Four.
Right.
And this picture and 3 others that I took of Gang of Four are in the hardback booklet that came in their Gang of Four 1976 to 1979 box set.
Nice.
Nice and big, too.
So how did you swing that connection? Did you reach out through their management?
I was actually Facebook friends somehow or other with Hugo, their drummer.
Okay.
And when Pete Shelley died from the Buzzcocks, I got a call from John King, who Hugo referred him to me because John was very upset, and he wanted to know if I had any good pictures of Pete Shelley that I could send him. And I did. And because the show that I took those pictures at was Buzzcocks headlining, Gang of Four supporting, and to this day, the guys in Gang of Four said I was one of the greatest shows they ever played. And they remember to this day. There's a chapter in the hardback book about that one show.
That's cool. That's very cool.
And there's a chapter there's a lot of mention of that in this book by John. So that show went over really well.
Yeah. I actually am a Gang of Four fan. I love the Solid Gold album. That's the one that's got the cheeseburger?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great album. I don't get a chance to talk about much of that kind of stuff on my channel because it seems like my algorithm and like my core audience is veering towards progressive rock, but I absolutely love new wave and post-punk as well. But I don't know if there's anything else I want to talk about with Zappa. Yeah, it does say this was like early 74.
Well, here's one story you might find of interest as far as Zappa goes. I'd never heard of Frank Zappa until 1969. I was in my senior year of high school. One of my friends and I were in art class together, and we were supposed to go out and take pictures of, or draw pictures of trees or something like that. But instead, we went over and jumped in his Volkswagen and drove over to his house, which wasn't far away from the high school. And he says, "You got to listen to this album here." And we went down to his room, and he put on "We're Only in It for the Money."
Oh yeah.
And I was never the same after that.
Oh. I remember the first time I heard that, and the chrome-plated Megaphone of Destiny came on. I was like, it was like hiding behind the couch kind of stuff. Like, oh, this is uncomfortable.
But I was singing along to "Let's Make the Water Turn Black."
Oh, I love that one. I absolutely love that one. That might be his best record, honestly. "We're Only in for the Money" is fantastic.
Because for me, Zappa, I liked his Verve stuff. I like "Freak Out." I like "Absolutely Fray." I like "We're Only in it for the Money" and "Uncle Meat" and "Burnt Weenie Sandwich" and that. And I like the ones where when he went to Reprise or Warner Brothers or wherever that was. Like the one you're going to be talking about, because those came out when I was in college, and we were all big Zappa fans there, and we would always get those when they came out. And when I really liked them a lot, "Weasels Rip My Flesh" was another one.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We liked them a lot. Those initial three, especially on Verve, there was a magic thing in them.
Oh yeah.
I don't think went into any other ones that I've heard.
I agree with you. Like I always say that live, my favorite era is this one, like 1973, 1974. But for the studio records, I'm all about those early ones too. And it's the same thing. They're just really, really special.
Indeed, yeah. There's something very special about that.
So you saw him again. This was again 1974. Yeah, I love this shot with Napoleon. That's
that was the night after Christmas. And that was a tour where Frank and Captain Beefheart toured together. So the pictures I have of Captain Beefheart are from this same show.
All right, let me jump over to the Captain, because the rumor mill is saying that the Bongo Fury album is going to be the next box set. And I'm super excited for that.
Oh my goodness, that would be something.
Yeah. I hope we get the complete show from I think it's Amarillo, Texas, or something like that.
That'd be brilliant.
Austin, Texas. And I hope we get that. I hope we get the album, like a multi-channel version of the album and some outtakes and stuff. But yeah, so tell me about seeing the Mothers and Captain Beefheart.
Well, I wish I could remember much from that. I just remember, for some reason, they played at the Paramount Theater in Oakland, which was a really pretty fancy theater. But back in the 70s, they also had a lot of rock concerts there as well. And this was one of them. I don't remember a whole lot about that particular gig, to tell you the truth, outside of the one with Napoleon Murphy Brock as the Illinois Enema Bandit. But I just don't remember that much about that show, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, that's all right. Were you a Captain Beefheart fan then, or more of a Zappa fan?
I was more of a Zappa fan, to tell you the truth. I had Trout Mask Replica, and when I was in college, we had Safe as Milk and a bunch of those other ones. So I enjoyed Captain Beefheart, but I never really loved him like I did Zappa.
Yeah, I get that. I am a Captain Beefheart fan, but Zappa's like my number one. It's like I love Jethro Tull and I love Frank Zappa. Those are like my two, and then Genesis, Pink Floyd, Rush. I love all that stuff too, but nothing comes close to those two for me. But yeah, this is such a great shot of the Captain, and so much character here.
Indeed,
love the lighting. What's that?
I like his hat.
Oh yeah, the hat's great. This is the tour where I think Jimmy Carl Black described it as two geniuses on ego trips, or something like that, because the Captain was like behind Frank's back drawing portraits of him with like devil horns and stuff.
I believe it.
Yep. And Frank was basically doing him a favor anyway, because Don would sign any contract that went under his nose. So he had basically signed his way into so many conflicting contracts he couldn't release music anymore. And he was out of money, so he had to do this tour.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, despite the fact that they always were kind of frenemies, like they were buddies, but they also would kind of fight all the time. I think Frank was a true friend to Don to the very end. So
they were both artists.
yeah, it's really, really special. I think a really special friendship between these two guys. All right, let's talk about trying to think who else is on our let's talk about Yes. I didn't put Yes on the thumbnail, but that shot of Steve's great.
Yeah, that was my favorite one that I got of them. Yes, I didn't really know much of anything about until about 1972 or 1973. They would play Roundabout on our FM station in Rochester, but not too many people might do it. We had ELP, we had Genesis, we had a lot of other things, but nobody really had Yes albums for whatever reason. So I wasn't all that familiar with them during the earlier 70s. But when I got out of college, I got the triple live album Yes songs.
Oh, right. Okay.
That really got me into their music in a big way because it was almost like a live greatest hits.
Yeah. You got the complete Close to the Edge on that, right? Like, I think they do the whole record on that, which is cool.
Yeah, all three of the ones. And I just got those. I just ordered that. Should be showing up any day now. The double 45 RPM version of that.
Oh, is that the Analog Productions version? Yes. Oh, that's a great label.
Atlantic 75.
Yeah. The Analog Productions do the SACD releases that I reviewed this past week, and they sound amazing. But yeah, I love this shot of John here. This kind of captures his essence. Now, what year was this?
That was 77.
Okay.
Yeah, I was getting confused there because at first I thought it was a different year, and then some Yes fan got in touch with me and corrected me and said, "Oh no," because I was thinking it was the one where they had that stage circle in the round, because I was at that too, and I thought what these pictures were from, but no, it wasn't from that show. I didn't take pictures of the circle in the round one.
Yeah, but that looks so clear, and you can see Alan White back there banging on some drums and.
Well, it's funny because you can see Alan White's face through there, and he's actually got this kind of leering grin on his face.
Oh, right yeah.
Shoulder.
Yeah, that's such a cool shot. Like I didn't even notice Alan White at first, but looking at it, I can see him back there. Now, I do love this shot of Rick Wakeman, another absolute rock legend, and I guess I hadn't realized, but he'd been out of the band for a couple of years and came back at this point, because I think this is Going for the One. Is that the tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, but this some of these shots of Chris Squire are just fantastic.
Thank you. So I didn't. This was the first time I think I ever saw them in concert, and I think I might have seen them twice after that, but I was never like a super huge Yes fan. I really enjoyed them, and some of their work I really loved a lot.
Yeah.
But I just never was able to make the connection with them like I could with some of my other favorite progressive rock bands.
Yeah, for me, it's like I was always more of a Genesis guy.
Right.
And with the release of some of these Atmos mixes that Steven Wilson has done, I've gotten back to, and I've heard the Yes album. I've heard Fragile again, Close to the Edge, Topographic Oceans, and I've kind of fallen in love with them again. But I always tell people, like, I'm kind of a recent Yes fan. Like, this isn't a band that I loved like in my teenage years, like I did with Zappa, Tull, Genesis, that kind of stuff. So even though I'd heard them, I was familiar with them, I'm kind of growing to appreciate them more recently. And that says something about their staying power. Like, there's so many artists that I hear that I just hear once and discard. But here's a band that I've come back to. But there's a couple other Yes shots I wanted to highlight.
Combinations and permutations of them, isn't it?
Yeah, there's so many different lineups, and to me, nothing beats the Close to the Edge lineup with Bill Bruford. That's my favorite. Nothing against Alan White. I think he's a wonderful drummer, and it's like if you listen to the show, that I think was the Yes Show's DVD, but it's on the Close to the Edge box set. Alan White, I think maybe had like a week or two of rehearsal, and then he's in the show.
Yeah.
And he's not missing a beat, man. And in fact, he might be more aggressive than Bill on that show. But I wanted to highlight, I don't know if you're into films or not, but this oh, okay. I was looking at this and immediately I thought Akira Kurosawa. Like this looks like a Kurosawa shot to me.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah. I love this. And it looks like, it obviously the music of Yes is very spiritual.
Right.
There's like a spiritual quality to it. Like John's kind of looking up to the heavens. But I absolutely, I love the mood of that shot with is it like dry ice or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rick Wakeman, he's not very spiritual.
No.
Like old Rick, eating his curry, they're all vegetarians. He's eating his beef curry while the band's playing on top of his keyboards,
Yeah. that was like a famous thing with the Topographic Oceans tour. Like he was just like eating curry and they're going off into some flight of fancy. He's like, oh man, what time is it? But let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, this again, like this could be on a t-shirt, or a poster. I absolutely love this shot. And he's got a triple neck guitar.
That is a triple neck guitar.
That's proggier than Genesis.
When I went to England in 1976 on my first time over there, I brought some pictures over to New Musical Express because I wanted to know if they'd be interested in possibly publishing anything. And this was among the pictures I was showing them. And they were going, this is just a triple neck guitar. How much more ridiculous can you get than that? This is 1977, of course, when punk was in full range.
Yeah.
Triple neck guitars were not considered to be a great punk instrument. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how these things tend to come back over time. Like, in the late 70s, maybe people were sick of prog, but I think future generations, I can only speak for myself, but I think future generations have gone back and embraced both styles of music. Like I have music from the Sex Pistols. I have the Stranglers, and I have Yes sitting right next to them. Like to me, it's just all great. It's all good music. It's all interesting.
Absolutely. Totally agree, Ian. Yes.
But let's see if there's any other. Yeah, another great shot of John here. I know that you don't have too much to say about Yes, but I know a lot of my viewers love them, and I think they'd appreciate seeing some of these shots. But
I wish I had some stories about Yes, but that's one I don't really have much of a story to tell about. So
let's see. I'm going to grab. I want to talk about Robin.
Oh, okay.
Because that's
stories about him.
That's kind of how we connected. So I think I think we should talk about Robin.
Sure enough.
Yeah, he's just, it's sort of like that shot of Frank. Like you just captured him totally in a trance. And it almost looks like he's playing Daydream here, or one of those kind of slower songs, bluesier songs. Do you remember what he was playing here?
I do not, but Robin has such an elastic face. Mm-hmm. It goes into so many different shapes and things like that throughout it. So I have him in so many different looking shapes and expressions from this particular show. Now, the story I have about Robin, I was mentioning that he supported Sha Na Na at Winterland. We'd heard of the radio played a little bit of Robin Trower. Some of us knew him from Procol Harum. But he came on, and within about 30 seconds, that crowd was his.
Oh, yeah.
that crowd was his. And when I listened to that 75 Shrine show on that For Earth Below, I said, okay, now I remember why everybody went completely nuts over this.
That's a great performance, isn't it?
But at that Sha Na Na thing, they wouldn't let him leave. He got called back for 3 encores. And if Sha Na Na hadn't had to come on, he would have been playing there all night long. Everyone would have stayed till 3 a.m. to listen to Robin play if he would have been up for it. It was just amazing. He was king of San Francisco for the next year or so. Everybody was talking about, did you see Robin Trower Winterland? Did you see Robin Trower Winterland? And so he came back again at Winterland the following year, earlier in the year, and blew everybody away. And then in the summer at Oakland Stadium, Bill Graham used to have these outdoor festivals that he would call Day on the Green. And there would be like 4, 5, 6 bands on a day on the green. And they would sometimes have themes. So we had this one, it was called The British Are Coming. And who was on the bill? Peter Frampton was on the bill. Fleetwood Mac was on the bill. And the headliner was good old Robin Trower. He was headlining over Peter Frampton and Fleetwood Mac in 1975.
Wow.
Their fortunes reversed very shortly after that.
I was going to say, yeah, Frampton and Trower did a tour later on, I think, where they would flip. Like one gig Trower would open, and then the next gig Frampton would open. Because I think my dad may have seen one of those shows.
Oh, that probably would have been before the Frampton Comes Alive thing.
Yeah, I think it was after, and I believe this was like the 80s when Frampton's career was on the downward trend at the time.
Okay, gotcha, yeah.
And I think Robin like did it as a favor to him. It's like, well, let's just share headlining credit. And so they just swapped every other night. They would swap.
Oh, I bet.
So which one of these photos ended up in the set? Was it the one? Was it this one?
No, it's one where he's got his boot up on the monitor. It's that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one.
That one. Because of all the, I forget who it was that was saying, he says, that's one of the only pictures I've ever seen of Robin where he looks handsome. I thought the same thing when I looked at that picture. He looks a really good-looking guy in that picture, but you see him in other pictures, and he's got a little bit of an awkward-looking face. So, but he's really expressive. He's so
yeah. I always felt like his guitar was like a human voice, and by making those mouth and face contortions, it was like he was singing through the guitar somehow.
Yes,
and that's one of the things that makes him so special. Now, how did you get hooked up with Chrysalis Records and get this printed?
I was selling some of my pictures up on Etsy.
Okay.
And I got a message from Etsy from some guy that says, hi there, I'm from Chrysalis Records, and we're doing a box set of Robin Trower, and we're looking for some pictures of him from 1975.
Yeah.
I saw your picture there, and I said, oh, let's talk here then. And and it worked out great.
That's awesome. Because I remember I was doing searches for pictures of Robin from that year for my review, and there really aren't any. Like you can't really find that many on the web of the 75 tour. There's not even like a promo photo, which is surprising to me.
There's a lot of tours from a lot of bands, progressive rock, punk, new wave, you name it, where I've got earlier pictures of them from years where you don't see many pictures of them at all. Not even very good ones.
Yep. And I do want to, I want to bring up Talking Heads here in a minute, because those shots really.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, those are some really, really nice shots. But I didn't know if there was any other ones here I want to show. Yeah, I love this shot of him. Again, like you captured a moment here.
I like that one in particular because it's the only one I have where he's got a black background behind him.
Yeah.
Because he was playing during the day. So all the rest of his pictures have, all the daytime striped backdrop behind him. But this one has got a black background. And that's one reason I really like that one so much.
Yeah, I like that one a great deal. And let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. You can imagine what that is sounding like.
Yeah,
I'm singing that.
I'm hearing Day of the Eagle in my head.
Yeah.
Or Two Rolling Stone, or one of those kind of up-tempo songs.
Yeah, I just wish I would have got a few pictures of Jimmy Dewar as well.
Yeah.
What a great singer that guy is, huh?
Oh, man, Jimmy Dewar. And who was? I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a blank on the drummer at the time. Bill Lorden. Bill Lorden was the drummer. Yeah. And I was just looking for a photo that had those three guys together on the web, and it's like it's not documented. So it's really great that these pictures exist at all. And I understand why Chrysalis Records would contact you, because this is it's awesome. Like it's just it's capturing a moment and making him seem so real to me. Now, Let's pull up, because I love the Talking Heads. And the Stop Making Sense is probably the album that most people, or the video that most people associate them with. But this was, what year was this? 77?
This was 79, I believe.
Okay.
79 on the Fear of Music tour.
Fear of Music, yeah, that's another one of my favorites of theirs.
Yeah, that is my favorite, is Fear of Music. I saw Talking Heads, I think, 3 times. The first time I didn't take pictures. That was at a club called the Boarding House here in San Francisco. The second time was at the Old Waldorf in San Francisco, and I have pictures of that show up there. And that was in late 77. And then they came back again in 79 to Berkeley on the Fear of Music tour. And I had really good seats right near the front. And I got some pictures there that I really like. This one picture I have of David Byrne, where it's just a black background and David kind of coming out of the background.
Let's see.
No, roll down the next show. No, there's another show after that.
Oh, okay.
And it's that one right there in the lower left corner that you see. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
And that is one of the very, very few pictures I ever took, where as I was taking the picture, I was thinking, if this comes out good and this comes out sharp, this is going to be a really cool picture.
Yeah.
And it was almost like Babe Ruth pointing to where he's going to hit the home run. And that's what I felt like with this. Okay, nailed it.
Yeah, that's a good one. And there's a couple here that I really love. Like you were asking me about Prince, and I was thinking, man, how do I select just a couple? But I love this one because it like looks like he's interacting with the audience here.
Yes, exactly.
And it's just like capturing so much of his personality and stuff. Because you see Byrne interviewed, he's one of my favorite people to just listen to talk about anything, because he's got such a unique perspective on life. And you can kind of see that in this image is what I'm saying. Like, I love this one. This is like almost a playful, kind of a playful shot.
That's my favorite one from that particular show. The thing this was taken at the Old Waldorf, and almost all my pictures, I've got a lot of pictures from a lot of bands at the Old Waldorf. One thing about the Old Waldorf is it had a very low ceiling, and consequently the stage lights were very low and would get in the pictures, which was great because they were a wonderful compositional tool. Some of my best pictures are ones with the stage lights at the Old Waldorf where you can see the lights.
Yep, I can see that. Yeah, let's see if there's any other. Like, I was kind of going back to these like individual shots here, and like Tina Weymouth, she's a legend now. Like people talk about her all the time, and again, it's just like she's just a normal person. Like the way you capture her is just so down to earth.
Well, I've probably had more people who've wanted Tina Weymouth pictures from me than even David Byrne.
Is that right?
Yeah. Tina, that is for sure. This was at the Old Waldorf show. The second one has some even better ones, although I do like the way her eyes are in that one.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm going to scroll down a little bit.
And in the one there, she was kind of looking at Chris. Or not.
Did I skip this one here, or?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, she's looking at Chris. They're kind of looking at each other, and when that one was. But the next one down was from the Old Waldorf, where she's wearing a white T-shirt. And from Berkeley. No, that's still the Old Waldorf.
That's Old Waldorf. Okay. Oh, here's Berkeley. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the Berkeley one. Yeah, that picture I really like a lot.
Yep.
And that one too.
Yeah, look at those amps, man.
Yeah, huh? And I like the way that cord is looking like almost like the neck of a guitar thing coming around the side of that amp.
Yeah.
Like the cutaway of a guitar.
Yeah, I love these shots. And that's the one that we saw, like the close-up of. But
Jerry Harrison, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Jerry Harrison. I was blanking on his name there for a second. But yeah, this is 1979. Yeah, this is such good stuff. Another one here, like frontline kind of shot.
Uh-huh.
But was there Before we wrap up here, because we're heading towards the hour mark, but was there
Right.
anybody that you wanted to talk about specifically?
Here's an interesting one for prog rock because a lot of people don't realize that they were once a prog rock band. Split Enz.
Oh yeah. I know them.
Split Enz in 1976 when their album that was produced by Phil Manzanera, Mental Notes, had just come out. And they played a couple of shows at the boarding house in San Francisco. Originally, the support was going to be comedian Henny Youngman. Take my wife, please. That guy. He was going to be the support. What a bizarre show that would have been.
Yeah.
He wound up not making it. But on that early Mental Notes album, Split Enz was a total prog rock band.
Oh yeah, like early Gabriel Genesis style. I'm familiar with that one, and I think I bought their second record not too long ago, which kind of remakes like the song "Amy." I think is remade on that album, but they're not a band I'm super familiar with, but I do like them. Like they're kind of an interesting theatrical prog punk thing.
Did. But if you haven't heard Mental Notes from 1976, that is a different kettle of fish from everything else that they ever put out after.
I haven't heard that album in years, but I need to revisit it.
Yeah, I would suggest that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they would have these really strange hairdos and clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
That the one guy with the hair that came up like fork, he's the one who was kind of their main costume designer. And that.
Did I pass that up? Are you talking about this guy here?
The one on the left there.
Yeah. Okay. With like the eraser head hair.
The one on the right is Tim Finn, who's been with Split Enz ever since.
Oh, right. Tim Finn. Yep.
So that's what Tim used to look like back then. And then I saw them again not long after that in 77 in England in London. And yeah, that was the first night when they were all taking their bows, the first show that they did at the boarding house in San Francisco. So I got pictures on two different nights. And this one, they're wearing kind of like straight regular clothes. And the next show, they were wearing those clown outfits.
Yeah, that's so much fun.
But yes, I would wholeheartedly suggest that anybody who likes progressive rock but may have no idea that Split Enz used to work in that territory, well worth checking out.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you, there's one band I wanted to mention, especially since they're in the I want to talk about Queen because some of those shots were awesome, but Roxy Music.
Oh, yeah. I was a big Roxy fan starting in about 73 when I moved out to San Francisco. One of my roommates was a big Roxy fan. So
For Your Pleasure, that album?
Yeah, around For Your Pleasure time. And we didn't get the first one until a bit later, but For Your Pleasure and Street Life and the ones right after that, yeah, we played them a real lot. And we found out they were playing at the Paramount Theater in Oakland. Knew how to get good close seats for that. And for some reason, I would take color pictures at the Paramount Theater a lot. I don't know why, but Bob Marley I have in color, Roxy Music I have in color, the Frank Zappa ones was in color, and that. But I got good seats down there. Phil Manzanera was a big, big hero of mine.
Sure.
And he and Brian Eno both were. So I went to this show, and this was on the Siren tour, I believe. And
yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, it was a really cool show. I really enjoyed it a lot. And I only saw them once more after that on the Manifesto tour, which I really liked Manifesto. That was my favorite of their later period albums.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of, I like all of them. At least I think there's maybe one or two I haven't heard, but I'm kind of a weird Roxy Music fan because my two favorites are For Your Pleasure and Avalon. And they're so different. They couldn't be more alike, or they couldn't be more different, but I love them. I've played them on a loop.
Brilliant.
I wanted to, you've got some nice shots of Eddie Jobson down here. Like very clear.
Yeah, Eddie was awesome, huh?
Yeah, I met him about 12 or so years ago, and I saw UK at Nearfest in Bethlehem, PA, and I met him in at the hotel lobby at like 12 o'clock in the morning or something like that, like after midnight. And he was such a nice guy to chat with. And all he wanted to talk about, I just mentioned that I was interested in curved air. And all he wanted to talk about was how his son got him a picture disc of their first album for his birthday or for Father's Day, because it was like June. And he's just talking about like geeking out about this picture disc his son bought him. But yeah, here you captured him like before Tull, before Zappa. It's so cool.
Oh, he was with Tull, wasn't he?
Yeah, very briefly. Yeah, for like less than a year. But like you got him here playing some keyboards.
Yeah, I wish Jethro Tull is one of those bands I've seen so many times, but a lot of times I just wouldn't bring my camera to shows because it's hard to enjoy a show and take pictures at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Like I've done. I do work for Prog Day in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I try to take video of each band. And that's something that I've noticed is that by taking video and trying to document it, it does create like a separation between myself and the experience. And my memories aren't as sharp. Even though I've got photographic evidence or video evidence, my memories aren't as sharp. So I definitely see where you're coming from there. But one of the things I love about these shots is like you captured like these silhouette things here with Manzanera, and just the colors are really beautiful. But you got a couple of good shots. Like it looks like he's playing Every Dream Home a Heartache here.
Oh yeah, during that wonderful solo during that. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's so cool. Here's a band that needs a reissue program. I'd love to see Roxy music box sets.
Well, they might be, because at one point earlier this year, I started sending out pictures to various bands' management, and one of them I wrote to someone at roxymusic.com or something like that. I got a phone call from Brian Ferry's son.
Wow.
Says, I looked at your pictures. These are awesome. And we're going to be wanting some pictures later this year. We're working on a project right now. Would you be interested in working with us? Absolutely, I want to work with you. So I haven't heard back from him yet, but I'm going to need to touch base with him again in another month or so. I don't want to like
that's exciting. I thank you for sharing that.
Well, I've been in touch with Peter Gabriel's manager, who's one of the nicest people you ever want to meet. I've been in touch with Elvis Costello's manager, who's one of the nicest people you ever want to meet. These managers are really wonderful people.
Yeah, I guess they kind of have to be, in order to make those important connections and stuff. But you mentioned Peter Gabriel, and I'd love to hang out on these Roxy music shots. But yeah, like right here, I think we did show that one, but I love it. And I just wanted to point out, I do love these are backup singers, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I do love that shot of the backing singers because I
do too. And it's very interesting to me what picture, because my favorite pictures quite often wind up being quite different from other people's favorite.
Sure.
Which is important to me to know, because I can't just think, okay, what I say goes and that's how it is. No, can't do it like that.
Yeah, but I just they look like they walked right off of the album covers.
Yeah,
that's what I love about it. It's like the Roxy Music album covers. There's like, obviously they're part of the band. They're singing. They're adding harmonies. But they're also adding the visual. They're adding to the visual aesthetic too. And I love that they're part of the show like that. And
they went through a number of costume changes during the course of the show as well.
Yeah. And now is that one of the same singers there? Or did they...
left.
Okay, so that's the one on the left.
Yeah, that's her.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. They had an aesthetic and a vibe that was kind of all their own, and a sound that was all their own.
I had never heard of Roxy Music until I was leaving a Pink Floyd show in 1973 in Meriwether Post Pavilion in Maryland, and somebody was handing out these flyers or something for Roxy Music for Your Pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard of it. I said, "What is this?" I just kept walking, and then later on, I found out who that was. So.
Yeah, I do want to, since you brought up Peter Gabriel, there's just a couple I want to grab here before we go. Where is Peter? Oh, you
my
probably
best
have
song wound up being Peter Gabriel, from 3 shows from Peter Gabriel and 4 shows from Elvis Costello. Those wound up being the artists I got the most great pictures of.
Yeah, that's a great one there.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. That really is. That was from this first solo tour right there, and he played at Winterland.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Just a few months before Genesis played at Winterland on the Wind and Wuthering tour.
Okay. Yeah, this looks like Moribund the Burgermeister.
Yes, 78. Yeah,
Yep.
That was 78 from Berkeley Community Theater. That was the second time I saw him on the Peter Gabriel, whatever that second one you want to call it.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, like, we looked at the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway shot where he's in the leather coat and the rail get up, and how Peter was kind of predicting the punk style, like a couple of years before, but here he is, he looks like a punk, like he looks like he could be in the Stranglers here.
He sure does. He doesn't look terribly dissimilar from Jean-Jacques Brunel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love this shot with the light.
Stranglers is one of my all-time favorite bands ever. But no, that one with the light is really, really cool because it's sharp and Peter's got that expression. And that's probably been about my most popular Peter Gabriel picture.
Yeah, it reminds me of David Lynch a little bit, like Blue Velvet. If you ever saw that film where he's singing into the trouble light.
But David Lynch is my all-time favorite film director.
Oh man, mine too.
Big shirt, if you noticed.
No, I didn't see that. Hold on, let me put that up. Oh, you wearing a Twin Peaks shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Twin Peaks Festivals up in Washington State. I'm hardcore David Lynch.
Yeah, I am too. I was so depressed when he passed. Like that hit me so hard.
It was coming up though. As soon as he announced he had emphysema and needed oxygen tanks to walk across the room, my mother had that. It's longer. So.
Yeah, I knew it was coming, but it was still a gut punch because it just seems like the world is less mysterious now.
Yeah, that was a good way of putting it, Ian. I like that. Yes.
Yeah. There's something missing, but that's what this reminded me of. Is it made me think of I'm blanking on the actor's name.
That scene where they're singing into the lamp.
Yeah, the candy colored clown. Yeah, that's that's what it makes me think of. And of course, this is years before Blue Velvet, which is so fun.
This till 70s.
Yeah,
they would be working on Eraserhead, I reckon. So.
You're right. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that David Lynch was your favorite. He's my favorite too.
All time is Mulholland Drive.
Oh man, I love Mulholland Drive. I was thinking of that. I was thinking of the cowboy, and we're getting off topic here, but I was thinking of the cowboy scene last night. Yeah, howdy. Yeah, howdy yourself. Yeah, yeah. But that we could go off on Lynch forever.
Yeah.
But
you'll do some editing to get rid of, put in what you want, take out what you don't want.
Oh, I wanted to point this out because this is Sid McGuinness, right?
I don't know who it is, but when I looked at that picture, I said, "Oh my gosh, that is just so funny! How in the world did I get it so it looks like he's biting right into his arm?" Yeah.
But that's I think that's Sid McGuinness. Sid played for the Letterman band with Paul Schaefer for years. But I think that's Sid on the guitar there.
Oh, okay.
So that's a really cool moment. And I'm sure you've seen it, but Peter Gabriel's Rock Palast show from this year is on YouTube. So you can see video from this tour on YouTube.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'll have to check that out. It's so much good stuff on Rock Palast.
Oh, I love those performances. Yeah, I can go down the rabbit hole there. But let's see if there's anybody. Oh, I like the tambourine shot.
It's cool. I have that same picture of him putting his face in that tambourine on all 3 of the tours that I got pictures of. I don't remember which song it is that he does that on, but he did it on something on the first album because he did it on the other 2 as well.
It's like he's putting a frame around his face. It's like,
Yeah.
It's cool. It's very cool. All right. I want to talk about Queen a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not hugely familiar with their stuff, but I love A Night at the Opera. I love Sheer Heart Attack. And, of course, Freddie is one of the all-timers, really. Mount Rushmore of singers.
I like Queen a lot. I never really had their records because we used to hear them in the record store and stuff like that. So I really like their music, especially the Queen one, first Queen, Queen 2, and Night at the Opera. I really like those a lot. They first played San Francisco at Winterland on a $2 Tuesday. These things for up-and-coming bands. Kiss did one, Queen did one, and for $2 you go to Winterland and see this band. I didn't bring my camera to the $2 Tuesday, but Queen totally blew me away at that show. And the next time they came around was on the Night at the Opera tour. I figured they would be big enough to play a pretty good-sized place by them.
Sure.
They played Berkeley Community Theater, the same place where Genesis played Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And I wish I would have got seats up this close for that show, but I didn't. But I got ones for here. So
this is this a Night at the Opera tour?
Yes.
Or cool?
Yeah, this is Night at the Opera tour. I only have pictures of them from that one tour.
Yeah, that's Brian May. That's such a cool shot. You've got a couple here. Yeah, I like this full color one a lot.
Yeah, I like that too. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great shot. And what was? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of the, we got to get old John Deacon in there too, right?
Yeah. So was Bohemian Rhapsody a huge song at this point yet?
I thought it was, but apparently it wasn't as huge as I thought it was, or they would have been playing somewhere a lot bigger than Berkeley Community Theater, which holds about 3,500 people.
Yeah. Oh, this one with the rose is cool.
Yeah. Huh? And that's another one of those pictures where I never saw the picture before just a few years ago, because when I first took these and I would go through these, and even when I first digitized them about 15 years ago, a lot of them I just skipped because I didn't get a good look at them.
Yeah.
I've got better software now. I can see the pictures better now. And I also don't demand that every picture be absolutely crystal sharp anymore either, because I used to be kind of stupid like that. And I lost a lot of good things. So I've gone back and I picked up a lot of stuff off the cutting room floor. And some of it was a lot better. Some of it was better than the ones I liked originally.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, sometimes capturing like an action shot can be really exciting too. Like something with a little bit of movement or a little bit of blur.
Yeah, it can be. But I'm talking more in terms of like focus or camera movement.
Oh, I see. Okay, something that's like a little bit fuzzy or.
Yeah, because we're shooting a 60th of a second with a 200 millimeter lens where you're being jostled around isn't the easiest way to take really sharp pictures.
No.
Although when the Sex Pistols played here, I got one of Sid Vicious, full frame, like from the chest on up, where you could count every pore in his face. And this is while I'm up in the middle of the slam pit with my 200 millimeter lens getting bashed around all over the place. Keep going, and I'll point out that one to you. That one right there. The one next, right to the left of Steve Jones on the bottom.
Yep. Oh, the bottom. This one here?
One.
Is this the one? Yeah, that's a nice shot.
And you can see every bead of sweat that's coming down on his face, and you could count pores on his face. That is so absolutely sharp.
Yeah,
how it's that sharp, I have no idea. But
yeah, that's very cool. I just watched Sid and Nancy not too long ago, and so that's kind of in my mind. It's like, man, that does kind of look like Gary Oldman. All right, what else was there? One more that we wanted to mention before we take off here. Talked about Trower. Talked about Yes. I did want to throw in. You mentioned the Stranglers.
Okay. Also, these are like the M through the Z's, because there's another column for the A through the L's over there.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to mention Blondie and Jeff. We'll do Blondie and Jeff real quick too. But this is another case where you captured these guys before they were really popular, right?
No, this was 77, so Radis Norvegicus was already a pretty big hit by this point, especially in England where I took these. And so I took them in right around the No More Heroes time.
Okay. How did you make it to England, by the way? What were you doing?
I was going to give you a smart ass answer, like I took a plane.
I took a plane, yeah. No, what's the story there?
Well, I was a big Anglophile from music.
Sure.
Back from the time I was a teenager. And in 1976, I was sitting around with a friend of mine, talking about English music once. He says, "Man, we ever think about going to England for a visit?" I said, "No, but might be able to do that." So did that. And then in July 1976, when England was having one of its biggest heat waves of all time, I got over there. I got off the plane and I said, "I didn't think England was tropical."
Where's the rain?
Yeah,
I thought there was going to be rain.
I don't want heat. I don't want this. But it was cool, and I loved England. I didn't know much about it. I would go into a pub and ask for a glass of beer instead of a pint of bitter or something like that. So I was really an idiot when I first went there in 76 and didn't know much of anything. I went again in 77, and I went to some shows, took a few pictures. I met a person in a record store who wound up becoming one of my very, very best friends. And he was a writer for Sounds Magazine over there.
Oh,
and
okay.
We're still best friends to this day.
That's cool.
And but that was in 77, and then I would start going back to England like just about every year.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it there, but I would never leave London for whatever reason. Finally, in 92, I went there. I stayed in a hotel, and I met a bunch of people who were from Manchester who were staying at the hotel, and they're going, "Oh, when you come to England next time, you got to come up to Manchester. Down here in London, people of the South, no one's friendly. You try to talk to somebody, they think you're going to try and molest them or something like that. When you go to the north of England and Manchester, you go to a pub, you won't be sitting there by yourself more than 5 minutes before somebody comes over and starts talking to you. And people are much friendlier up there." And I went up there, and he was absolutely right. And from then on, I would travel all around England and all around the country. And my least favorite place would wind up being London. And my favorite places wound up being places like Norwich and Rye and York and some of these other places that even some of my English friends had not been to. But yeah, I know English culture a whole lot better now than I did.
Yeah, I would love to visit sometime if the right opportunity, the right time. Because I'm the same way. Like everything I love pretty much is English. There's a few American artists but they're a lot of times they're like filmmakers, like David Lynch or Dennis Hopper or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you had the opportunity to go over a few times, and I don't know if anybody on my subscribers are that into Stranglers, but I love the Gospel According to Men in Black album. I love the Raven.
I like all their stuff with Hugh.
All their stuff.
Except for the very last one. Stranglers 13 was not all that great, but all the ones before that are just some of my very, very, very favorite records. They really are. I love the Stranglers.
Did you get any of Greenfield? I didn't see any.
Yeah. They might not be. I took some.
There he is.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Yeah. That to me, Dave Greenfield is what made the Stranglers unique, in my opinion, because he like brought them closer to the Doors or something with those organ sounds, and that they did a cover of Walk On By. That's one of my very favorite things they ever did, and it sounds like Light My Fire, but it works. It works really well for them, and
exactly it does. And I was a huge Doors fan when I was a teenager.
Sure.
And, I still am. I just recently picked up some of their latest reissues on Rhino High Fidelity.
Cool. Let's talk about Jeff Beck.
Okay.
Because this is another one of my favorite shots that you've done.
This was a tour that they did together with John McLaughlin and his version of, at that time, of Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Oh, okay. So the Mahavishnu shots that you have are from this same night.
Yes. And they would alternate between who would headline each night. So the night I went, Mahavishnu headlined. They both got to do full sets. So it was just a matter of which came on first and which came on second. So that's when these were. And this was when I was back visiting my friends in Rochester, like the one and only time since I moved to the West Coast that I visited Rochester again. And this show was going on. And so I went to that. And to tell you the truth, I was never a huge Jeff Beck fan. I liked his stuff. Definitely Maybe. What a beautiful song that is.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just like some of these other English ex-Yardbird guitar players a little better.
Yeah, but this is like Blow by Blow and Wired era, right? Like this is like the best time to see him.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I pointed out the talk box shot because I think he's probably doing "She's a Woman" here, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Or was it Superstitious? Did you know Superstitious?
He may have used one on Superstitious too.
Or no, which was the first one you said?
I think the Beatles cover "She's a Woman." I think that's on Blow by Blow, and I can remember hearing that and him doing the "She's a Woman" through the talk box.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, that would be my guess, but he may have used it more. It's been a long time since I've heard it, but he also did a really great live album around that time, the Jan Hammer Group,
right?
Live album. So that's probably the material that you were seeing here.
Indeed, and Jan Hammer was with Mahavishnu, of course.
Okay, yeah, oh, that's right. Well, since you mentioned Mahavishnu, I'll pull that up real quick. And
John McLaughlin, he was very spiritual looking guy around this point. He's got a Dion Yamaha guitar there, it looks like. And just towards the end of the show, I got like right up near the front and got these like, waist up pictures of him that I really wound up liking a lot. They weren't quite as sharp as I would have preferred, but they were plenty good enough.
Yeah, he almost looks like he's from a different era here with this haircut. Like most rock stars like grew their hair really long.
Yeah.
But this almost looks like 80s to me. What year was this again? 75?
That would have been 75, I believe. It should have the date.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
April 25th, 75.
April 25th, yeah. Yeah, that's very cool.
The anniversary of my very first ever rock concert, which was April 27th, 1969, with Frank Zappa and the Mother's Invention, Country Joe and the Fish 10 years after, and the Buddy Miles Express.
That was your first concert?
Yep.
Wow. What a way to start. My first concert was Jethro Tull, so
really good too.
really good starting places.
I've seen Tull so many times in the 70s, but never took pictures of them.
Yeah, you did mention seeing Tull. What years did you see Tull? Do you remember?
The first time was in 1969 at the Laurel Pop Festival in Laurel, Maryland, when Led Zeppelin headlined that night. And Johnny Winter and 10 years out, a whole bunch of people were on that. So that was the first time I had seen Tull was there. And I'll send you a picture of some. They're not very good pictures, but you might be interested in seeing
Yeah,
them.
I would be.
And the next few times was in Rochester when I was up there. So I saw them on the Aqualung tour, Thick as a Brick tour, Benefit tour. And I moved out to San Francisco. I saw them on the Passion Play tour as well.
Cool.
And I'm one of those people, I love Passion Play.
That's my favorite album of all time. So there's a very small Venn diagram of David Lynch fans whose favorite album is a Passion Play. And here it is. You found it.
Oh, Ian, that's great, man.
So I just wanted to mention Blondie because I've always loved Debbie Harry. She's just striking and beautiful, and some of the great pop songs of that era, I think. But do you remember anything about this Blondie show?
Yes, I do. That one I do remember quite a bit. That was in early 77, and Blondie's first album had just come out not too much longer before that. And at that point, Blondie sounded like a punk band with a woman singer. They sounded more like the Ramones than they sounded like what Blondie would sound like just a year or so later.
Sure.
And it was buzzsaw guitars, it was pogoing, it was jamming, it was rocking. And they played 2 nights in a row, and I went both nights. and it was just great. It was a good crowd. Everybody loved them. And the band everyone just seemed to be having a really, really good time there.
Yeah, these are some great shots, and I love these close up shots of her because like Videodrome is one of my favorite movies, the David Cronenberg film that she's in.
Yeah,
I love her in that. But this is around the time that like she was dating Fripp, right? Like 77.
Oh, she was still married to Chris at that point.
Oh, okay, she was married. Okay, because I know she dated Fripp like around the time he made Exposure, which would have been like 78, 79. Because he's on, I think Robert Fripp is on Parallel Lines, and I wasn't sure, was Parallel Lines after this?
Yes, way after this.
Okay. So this is fairly early on in her career.
Oh yeah, this was, as I say, it was very shortly after their first album come out.
Yeah, what a fantastic shot of her.
Thank you. Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was happy with the pictures I took at this Blondie show. Some shows I would take 36 exposures, and if I got 3 of them I liked, that would be pretty good. And others I would take 36 exposures and I'll get 18 of them, and I thought were pretty good.
Yeah, and for folks at home who are familiar with digital photography, like, I'm used to the idea. It's like if I take a shot and it's crap, well, okay, nothing lost. But like you're wasting film. Every time you pull the trigger, you're wasting film. So
that's right.
In those days, you had to be so careful about setting up the shot. Is this the angle I want? Okay, I'm going to squeeze it off. Yeah,
each time I ran out of film before the show was over. I wish I would have still had some.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Thank you. I've been in touch with Blondie's manager as well, so we might wind up doing something with them too. It should be the 50th anniversary soon of Blondie's first album.
Oh.
So we're trying to get in touch with some of these people and say, hey, we have some 50th anniversary stuff coming out that we might want to make like a nice box set out of.
Yeah.
The unpublished photos. Here I am.
Yeah, that would be perfect. Well, it's one of my goals, or I guess hopes more than anything, that somebody sees this who's in a position to license your work. I would love it if somebody discovered your work through this video. So
it would be great. And I love talking to people about this stuff. And on my website, it has my contact info, like my email address and that kind of stuff. So if anybody ever wants to write me or ask me questions about any of this stuff, or just talk about any of these sort of things, that would be great. I really would enjoy something like that. So feel free to. And
I'm going to put your website in my description. So folks who are watching this can just scroll down and follow the link there. Before we go, because this has gone on a bit long, but obviously we've shown a lot of great shots and had some great talks here. But was there anything else? Was there like maybe one other artist you want to talk about, or one story you wanted to tell?
Not right now that I can think of now.
Okay, well, I got one. I got one I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So they're releasing, I think it's Universal or somebody's putting out a Peter Hammill box set. And I just happened to notice you got some Hammill shots. Do you remember anything about this show?
Yeah, I was a big Van de Graaff fan around the H.H.E. and March time. Killer was the first song I ever heard by Van de Graaff Generator. I used to play that on our station in Rochester. And when I thought it was Bowie.
Sure.
Times I thought that song was Bowie because with the sax and everything in there, and his voice sounded kind of like that. But I loved it, and Plague of Lighthouse Keepers and all the rest of that. But then he came around solo at the Old Waldorf nightclub, and I said, "Well, I'm going to go see Peter Hammill for sure." And it was nice. It was very intimate surroundings. It was just Peter and Graham Smith on violin.
Oh, okay.
And I've got some pictures of Graham on there as well.
Yeah, we're gonna. I'm just going to scroll through these because these are some great shots.
Started on piano, and then he moved over and sat down and played acoustic guitar, and then he wrapped up on his electric guitar.
Okay.
Graham there.
Yep.
String-driven thing.
Yep. And he was on That The Quiet Zone, The Pleasure Dome, and he was on Over, the Peter Hammill solo album. So was this around the time of Over, like 76 or so?
Yeah, this would have been around 76, I think. The date should be on the thing somewhere.
Okay. Oh yeah, 79. Okay, so this is like the future now, I think.
Oh, that was one of my later pictures. All right.
Yeah, that's a great shot of him. It's too bad that they didn't contact you for his box set, because I think that's already been announced.
I was, and but somebody on a Van der Graaf website or a Peter Hammill website I had been in communication with over a number of years. So I sent him some of these things, in case anybody was interested in seeing them. But yeah, I would have liked to have gotten something in that sort of box set, but there's more to come. Seems like every 5 years, someone's going to be coming out with something with an anniversry that ends with a 0.
Oh, yeah.
And there you go.
Yeah, that's how it goes. So, all right. So I want to wrap up here. Thank you so much, Larry. This has been a joy, and it's been fun hearing your stories. What can we expect next from you? If you're allowed to talk about it, is there anything coming soon?
I'm working on a couple of books. I'm also a fine arts photographer, so I'm working on a couple of books of fine arts photography, which is very strange looking stuff. And I'm also going to be putting together another book of my concert photos. I did this a few years ago. Well, a few years ago, more like 10, 15 years ago. But I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm going to have a much better book.
Okay. Now, where can we purchase that book somewhere? Is that available?
I only have one copy. I only make a copy. This costs like $80 or something like that.
Sure.
So get more done than that. But I know what I'm doing a lot more now as far as how to do the books, where to get them done, and a lot of other things. So I hope to have something for sale at some point this year.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you, Larry. This has been a joy. And for folks at home, let us know what you thought. Send us a comment. Send Larry a message. And don't forget also to like the video. And if you enjoyed this and would like to hear more from me, also to subscribe to the channel. My usual wrap. But until then, it's been a pleasure and a joy. Thanks again, Larry. Let's have you back on again sometime.
Love to.
All right, man.
Bye,
See you later. Thank you so much.